Rice needs sweet water. Every farmer for thousands of years knew this simple rule. Put rice seeds in salty ground, and they die. So when scientists in China said they wanted to grow rice in soil soaked with salt, most people laughed. Some called it a waste of time. Some called it impossible. But one team of scientists did not care what people thought. They had a plan, and that plan was about to change how the whole world thinks about farming. The land nobody wanted. Across China, there are huge stretches of land that farmers cannot use. The soil is full of salt. Some of it sits near the coast, where seawater soaks into the ground. Some of it is far inland, in places where the water table pushes salt up to the surface. Altogether, China has millions of acres of this ruined land just sitting there, doing nothing. That is a big problem. China has over 1 billion people to feed. Good farmland is limited. Cities keep growing and taking up space that used to grow crops. Every year, the country needs more food, not less. So scientists looked at all that salty, useless land and asked a strange question. What if the problem was not the land? What if the problem was the rice? Normal rice cannot handle salt. Salt pulls water out of plant cells instead of letting the roots drink it in. It is a bit like trying to drink soda when you are already thirsty for water. It does not work. The plant shrivels and dies. But not every plant on Earth behaves this way. Some wild grasses that grow near oceans have learned to survive in salty mud. If scientists could find the right genes, maybe they could build a rice plant tough enough to do the same thing. It sounded like a dream. But one scientist believed it could become real. To understand how, we need to look at the man who started it all. The man who would not quit his name was Yuan Longping. In China, many people call him the father of hybrid rice. Decades earlier, he had already shocked the world once. In the 1970s, he created a new kind of rice that grew much bigger harvests than normal rice. His work helped feed hundreds of millions of people and helped pull China back from terrible famine. By the time he turned his attention to salty soil, he was already an old man. Many scientists his age would have retired and rested. Not him. He kept working, kept testing, kept dreaming bigger. Yuan Longping set a bold goal. He wanted to breed a rice plant that could survive in salty water and still produce a strong harvest. He believed that if this worked, China could unlock tens of millions of acres of dead land and turn it into farmland. His team began searching through thousands of rice varieties from all over the world. They were hunting for tiny natural differences, plants that showed even a small hint of salt tolerance. Then they crossbred those plants again and again, generation after generation, slowly building a rice strain tougher than any before it. It took years of failed tests, crops that grew a little, then died, seeds that never sprouted at all. But slowly, something started to shift. Here's where it gets interesting. Rice that should not exist. In 2017, the team planted test fields of their new salt-tolerant rice near the coastal city of Qingdao. The soil there was mixed with salty water far too salty for normal crops. When harvest time came, workers walked into the fields expecting weak, sad little plants. Instead, they found tall green stalks loaded with grain. Some test plots produced yields that stunned even the scientists who had spent years building this rice. It was not just surviving the salt, it was thriving in it. News of the results spread fast across China. Farmers who had written off their salty land for generations suddenly had hope again. If this rice could really grow where no rice had ever grown before, it could open up an area of farmland roughly the size of a small country. But scientists knew one good harvest was not proof enough. They needed to test this rice somewhere even harsher. Somewhere with almost no fresh water at all. Somewhere everyone agreed rice should never be able to grow. They chose the desert. Rice in the desert. In 2018, the team planted this salt-tolerant rice in the deserts near Dubai. Daytime temperatures there can pass 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Rainfall is almost nothing. The ground is dry sand mixed with salt, about as far from a rice paddy as you can imagine. They used seawater, diluted down and mixed with soil additives, to water the crop. Almost nobody expected it to work. Desert heat alone kills most crops, let alone salty desert heat. But when harvest time came, the rice had grown. Real grain, ready to eat, pulled straight out of desert sand that had never grown a food crop in human memory. Scientists who studied the results were amazed. If rice could survive here, in one of the harshest growing environments on the planet, it hinted that salty and dry wasteland all over the world might someday grow food too. This was the shocking twist nobody saw coming. A crop built for flooded green paddies in China had just proven it could survive in a blazing hot desert thousands of miles away. A new kind of farmland. The impact of this discovery reaches far beyond China. Around the world, huge areas of land sit ruined by salt, useless for farming, sitting empty while millions of people go hungry. Coastal regions in Africa, dry stretches in the Middle East, salty plains in South Asia, all of these places share the same struggle China once had. Salt-tolerant rice offers something rare in the fight against hunger, real hope backed by real results. Scientists are still working to make the rice grow bigger harvests and survive even saltier conditions. But the breakthrough already proved something huge. Land once written off as dead and useless does not have to stay that way forever. Yuan Longping passed away in 2021, but his final big dream lives on in every field of salt-tolerant rice planted since. A crop born from stubborn hope, grown where nothing was ever supposed to grow, now stands as proof that even the harshest soil on Earth might still have a future.